You've landed on planet 412. I'll be your captain of sorts as we navigate this strange, cryptid-filled world. Join me on the quest for truth, through the strange, mysterious, and supernatural. This is Planet 412. And welcome to Planet 412. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. As you can see, I'm not by myself. I have my good friend Rye with me. Rye, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, Matt. Thanks for having me on. I know we haven't been doing as many lives as we wanted to together, but hey, that's what happens when we're busy. But we get them done.
Exactly. It's a pleasure to have you here, and I appreciate you coming on. Everybody that's been waiting, I appreciate you guys coming to the show tonight. And if you read the description of what's going on, you know that we're going to discuss some things going on that some of you probably already know. I don't know if everybody has seen. Right, what was the show? It was What was the show that I sent you where the Malaysian Flight, the scientists came on? Whose show was that?
I can't recall. I've watched numerous ones. I've like just one recently, not necessarily recently, but Candace Owens having on Ashton Forbes, who is in my in my personal opinion is the leader of or like the forefront person who's taking a real look at this, a real stab. I watched the documentary on Netflix, and I feel it was some good. It was okay, but there's a lot of holes that could be, you could punch a lot of holes in a lot of those narratives as well.
Yeah, you know what? Everybody, hello. I see everybody popping in there. Hello to all of you, BJ and Ford and DJ Tyler, JoJo. Everybody here, thank you for coming. Dinosaur Crystal. So I'm going to actually start this off and what we discussed about the Malaysian flight that it went down, years ago. It was such a big deal in the news. One of the things that has come up of late is that there is a video that has surfaced that's supposed to be from one of the United States Predator drones.
I have it.
And do you have it? Could you share that?
I got it ready. I stole it from Ashton Forbes off his TikTok, so credit to Ashton on that. But yeah, we can share it in a little bit. I got a lot of things ready for this. I don't want to.
Thank you.
I don't want to jump into that too far just yet, but I definitely want to. We're definitely going to talk about that because there is actually two videos. There's a satellite video of the plane disappearing, and there's the Predator footage as well that corroborates they both work together on it.
And the gentleman, is that the scientist, the one that you're talking about that was on?
I believe so. Yes. Ashton Forbes. He was not, I wouldn't call him a scientist as I would call him, someone who became more of a scientist, more or less, because of this mystery. He started to learn everything about it so that he could properly pursue this and get it right, because there is eyewitnesses as well. There's eyewitnesses of the plane, but the eyewitness accounts put it in a different area, which is really, really interesting because of where the plane was speculated to be and should have been. But why? What happened then? What is the actual real story? And I can do a little sum up of it if you don't mind. Of
course, go ahead.
Okay, so of course, this is Malaysian Airlines. It's flight MH370 and was also designated as MAS 370. It was a Boeing 777. Okay, its flight route was from Kuala Lumpur International Airport, Malaysia, to Beijing Capital International Airport, China. It was scheduled to leave at 12:35 a.m. That was on March 8th, 2014. So, this has been just over 10 years. It actually departed, a couple minutes late, which is typical. 7 minutes later. The estimated time of arrival that was supposed to arrive in China was at 6:30 a.m. The date of disappearance, of course, was March 8th, 2014. Now, in total, there was 239 people. So 227 passengers, 12 crew members as well. And if we want to break that down further, there was 152 Chinese nationals, 50 Malaysians, and a bunch of other people that made that up, like Indonesia, Australia, New Zealand, even some from Canada as well. There was 3 people from the US.
I remember
an
that.
important note was 2 Iranians that were traveling with stolen passports. Now, this is something that does come up as well, right? So
that's interesting.
Very interesting. That was one of the theories, is that they were terrorists. It doesn't necessarily mean they're terrorists. It could have mean that they were trying to, get out. It's leave, because a lot of people don't want to be in Iran.
Right.
Though I do know people of Iran. It's a beautiful country, and it's just that the government is way, way, way too controlling. And
like North Korea, very similar.
Well, a little bit, but Iran, you can leave. North Korea is no, you're going to get killed on that one. Yeah. So was Ashton Forbes debunked? No, he was not. He was able to actually prove everything. So
yeah,
I am actually, that is one person who I was in contact with him about a year ago to come on my show, but didn't happen. He got turned down on Joe Rogan as well, which was strange. Joe Rogan turned down Ashton Forbes. So very, very interesting.
I wonder why he would do that. Like, did somebody
government-wise? Yes, he was advised by a couple other people who advised against him. But Ashton, he backs up absolutely everything.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to do this any justice in comparison to Ashton. So what I can do is give us I can give us some ideas. I can post out some stuff as well, but I won't be able to debunk everything. I'm not as informative as Ashton on that one. But like, interesting thing with those passports, that's something that that comes out as well, right? Is those passports. Now, what could have been their, I don't know, their means, like why were they doing it? So so one had an Austrian passport and one had an Italian passport. Of course, that raised the concerns, and the theories arose suggesting that these 2 passengers could have been involved in a hijacking or bombing.
right.
But as I was saying earlier, that the outcome investigations revealed that these men were likely asylum seekers traveling to Europe with no links to terrorist organizations. So that's what I was pointing to earlier, was that they're asylum seekers, which hey, it's understandable. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of asylum seekers now these days.
And most people that are in the countries that are still communist, or whatever you want to call them,
or under some sort of regime control, as Iran.
You do not want to live under those types of people. It's definitely not positive for them. But this incredible
and just as a joke, that's why I left Canada.
I got you. Yeah, that's funny.
All right, so go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no, all I was going to say to everybody is, when I first came up on the video that I shared, I think I shared it with you at the very first time. Tony Merkel, that's the show. That's whose show it was from. He had him on there.
He had Ashton on. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely blew my mind, the detail and types of backup that this guy had, and going really delving into, you could not get this type of video from anything. Nobody is going to be able to make this up and just throw it up on YouTube or something. This was taken actually from a source in a room where they would be flying these drones, whoever was in control.
Yes. So there is two, like I said, there's two videos. So they were both released very close to one another, but yes, there's the thermal, and then there's the other one's a satellite image. So the thermal is from the drone. So that is from a Predator drone, and you know they have actually said, yeah, this is from this Predator drone. In the wings of some of the Predator drones, they can replace. You know, you can put Hellfire missiles, you can put certain things into them, and this one had a camera in it, a thermal imaging camera. So it was monitoring that, and
which makes you wonder, right there is, were they watching this plane to see what was going to occur? It really
100%
throws it into it. And
I definitely think the government was involved.
Sure. Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting. I'm excited about this.
No, that's okay. It makes you wonder where these people went, you know?
And that's something we need to say is that, you know, we talk about this, about the disappearance of the plane. Well, those were real people. Okay. Yeah. So those people, yeah, they disappeared. What happened to them is still.
Were they dead before they tried? Did they find out something happened? They lost cabin pressure and they all died. So this is our chance to try and utilize this new technology that we have.
Yeah. And exactly. This is the key, is to, I think the biggest question is why? Why was this done? Okay. And one of those things is were there people taking valuable information to China? Okay. Because one of the biggest, like, there was a lot of people on the plane, and what were they? They created microprocessors. Okay. And so, for those who don't know, microprocessors are like semiconductors, okay? And so what it is, there was 20 employees of Freescale Semiconductor, which is a US-based technology company specializing in microchips and electronic systems. 12 were from Malaysia and 8 were from China. And the conspiracy states that some theorists suggest that these engineers were carrying sensitive knowledge or intellectual property that could have been targeted by malicious actors. Okay. Now, the key with microprocessors is I think, like, you know, in our day and age, everybody wants bigger things, bigger. But microprocessors is completely opposite. Smaller. Okay. So they had just developed a microprocessor that was the size of a dimple on a golf ball. Okay. Now, this kind of, and microprocessors are huge. Like, this is I don't want to say it's like not like a war, but it is like a battle between the what am I? Sorry, I'm like struggling here, but it was like a battle between like the U.S. and China, you know, and who has this information, because you kind of control the market. You know, we saw a big issue recently when it was just after kind of like the debacle of COVID and whatnot, when there was a shortage of microchips. Okay. And they were all coming from China. So we can see that, you know, we started not being able to develop cars. We started being able to not develop a lot of things. Like, almost every type of electronic was almost put onto hold because there was this the shortage of microchips. And, you know, like I had a student who created home chargers for electric cars. They were running out. And he also, on cars, that's why it was issued to get new cars. And there was like 6 month to 8 month waiting period. It was the biggest issue was the microchips, you know, that go into these cars. So that was a big issue. So you can see how important microchips are to our world right now, right? So this is a huge thing. So whoever has, you know, the production policy or the production of these microchips, well, you kind of got the world in the palm of your hand, more or less, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there was, and I think this is one of the leading. I personally go with this one, that these people were going to China with this information, and like we're going to start, you know, production there possibly. And again, all theories is that the U.S. government was like, okay, and
Possible.
that's where it takes us to. Why is there a predator drone watching this? Okay, now if we want to, I'm gonna show a I'm gonna present a video here. Not a video, but a picture of the flight path of the MH370. So you can tell me when that comes up here.
All right, here we go.
Yeah. All right. So this is the flight path, and no one pings of it as well. Okay. So first of all, it took off at 12:42 from Kuala Lumpur Airport. Now, the final aircraft communication addressing and reporting system, that's ACARS, transmission is sent at 1:07 a.m. with no further ACAR data received. The last verbal communication from the cockpit was Good Night Malaysia 370. And that one, I believe, was from that contact was from Kuala. I'm going to butcher that.
Kuala Lumpur.
No. The next one, Kuala Terengganu. Kuala Terengganu, where you can see that star there. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I believe that was where the last. Okay, there's the last ACARS message at 106. Last secondary radar contact. Okay, what was at that point? So that was kind of them saying, because usually what happens is you go, and the reason why they're saying goodnight to that one is because you go out of the range. So you kind of get handed off from one air traffic controller to the other. So it's kind of like, okay, so that's why they were saying good night, Malaysia.
See you guys later.
Yes, exactly. Now, and that's why it disappeared from the Malaysian air traffic control radar at 1:21. Now, the military radar tracks the aircraft turning west across the Malay Peninsula and heading over the Andaman Sea. Okay. Now, I don't know why this happened. I'm sure Ashton has a reason why. Personally, myself, I don't know. I just haven't looked into it enough. Like, I don't have the time for that kind of stuff right now. So we're talking 1 hour. It flew, and military radar tracks it. The last radar contact is made near the northern tip of Sumatra at 2:22 a.m. Okay. Now the final satellite handshake is recorded by Inmarsat, suggesting the plane's location in the southern Indian Ocean at 8:19 a.m. Okay, now I want you to know that this plane had a range of approximately 8,900 miles or 14,300 kilometers. Okay,
that's a lot of space they can cover.
Exactly. Fuel capacity is 47,000 gallons or 179,000 liters. Okay, so this plane can go to some major, like it can go to some major places. Now, that brings them to the location of that they said. Now these satellite tracking that they tracked it by satellite, that they said this was here. Now, this is an area of contention. Okay. And the reason why is because all the numbers around this, like you can, if you watch the Inmarsat data, normal, and then it gets to a certain part where it is obscured. Like it's really weird. Okay. So this data is not right. There's an issue with the data. And they just kind of like, like that doesn't happen, but they chose not to pay attention to it. So why not? Why not realize that there's something malfunctioning here? Okay. Also to note that Rolls-Royce, it had 2 Rolls-Royce engines. Okay. And stop me if I'm talking too much, or
go ahead, Rye. There's no problem.
Okay. So these I'm trying to find the those types of Rolls-Royce engine. I don't recall specific. Oh,
that being said, of the best in the world.
Yes, and Rolls-Royce tracks them. Okay, this is important to know. Is that's information we've not gotten. Okay, Rolls-Royce tracks them. And maybe we have, but it's not public knowledge. Okay. So
I did not know that.
Rolls-Royce knows, they have the information. Like, people in the US know, there's people in the US who know what happened to this plane.
Right.
Okay.
I didn't know that they could tell where those engines were, though. That's incredible.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like,
Something
think
they
of
don't
it.
advertise.
Well, think of it as like a GPS system. Like, you have your Apple AirTags on things. You know, you can put that on anything and you can track it. You know, as long as there's some sort of signal. Well, these are that's kind of more or less, but a much better system is what they're doing. They're tracking this, so they know. Okay, now the plane goes missing, and no one knows where it is. Right, so. And that was at 8:19 is when the last thing is, and it should have arrived at 6 in the morning in China. Of course, no one knows where it is. It's delayed. So please, sorry, I'm like reading. Please share the live stream. Okay, yes, please share the live stream.
Thank you.
Talk about me getting distracted. Now, so that's when people started coming out, and they're not telling you where this went. They're not explaining anything, and there was a lot of not real true answers. And this is something to know, is that a lot of the family of the missing people are irate. They don't believe the narrative that it went down in Indian Ocean. They don't believe this.
Well, they didn't find anything of the plane.
They have found
one
pieces.
Piece.
No, they actually found numerous pieces. Okay.
Yeah,
they have found there was like a the biggest one is
part
the
of
flapper.
The wing was found.
That is it. Okay, and that throws everything for a loop. Okay, because I'm gonna get another picture ready here. So, and the reason why that this throws everything for a loop is because, oh, I know. Okay, I'm going to, yeah, here we go. Okay, back out. Oops.
And we're gonna try and get to that, at least explained a little bit, Anne. We're definitely
what is Anne saying?
More info. She's saying, where did the plane go? Well, we're getting to it.
Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen here again. Present, share screen, Google Maps. Okay, so I'm sharing Google Maps. Okay, now let me know when you got that up there. Oh, perfect, perfect. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, here's, for those who don't know these locations, I'm going to zoom out here. So, we have Asia here, you have the Middle East over here, you have Africa over here, Australia, and China, of course, is over here. Okay, so there's China, and here is Kuala Lumpur. I've visited there. I've been to Kuala Lumpur, actually. So
did you?
Yeah, many about 20 years ago. I went backpacking all. I don't want to say all around the world, but I went Southeast Asia. I lived in New Zealand. I was in Taiwan and South Korea as well. I've done some traveling.
That is okay.
So we have Kuala Lumpur. This was the flight path. It was going from Kuala Lumpur up to Terengganu. Okay, up this way. Then this is where they allegedly lost contact, and then it came back through. There was a ping off. I believe somehow they knew it was by Penang and over here. Okay. Now, the theory is, and where they went and searched for this was in this general location right in here. Okay. So this was the general location that they assumed that this plane had gone. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Everybody knows the oceans have currents, right? I think that's a given.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if the plane went down here, the currents in this area will take you to, what is this lovely place over here?
Australia.
Okay. So this is where the currents will take anything that, let's say you have debris here, it's going to get to here. And approximately, it should take how many? It should take, I think, a couple of years to get from here to here. Okay, so the debris field should have been in Australia. Now, they actually they found something over here. Okay, and this here island is the island of I forget, it is Reunion, the Reunion Island. Okay, so this is important. This is where they found the flaperon. Okay, so they decided to let go some debris over in this area where it could be here, but it ended up in what's that's called, into the Middle East. Okay, so they released some debris and it ended up into the Middle East, and they were like, and you know, as a good scientist, okay, and this is the thing I want to bring up here. A good scientist should never throw away any data. Okay, if something doesn't do what you want it to do, or you believe it's going to do,
mark it.
Yeah, there's a reason. So they tracked. They actually released debris like these planks, and they watched it, and it went up into the Middle East. Okay, so they threw that data away, and they're like, well, this flaperon was kind of sticking out of the water a little bit. Okay, so they said this would be then the wind should affect it. Okay, so the wind played a part in this, and so we need to stick some of it out and weigh some of it down to track it, and that is what they did. So, but the issue though was that, so they tied part of it with the section sticking out to allow the winds to take it, but on the section that was sticking out of the water when they found it, because it wasn't really on the island, it was near the island, but what the part that they found had barnacle growth on it. Okay, 4-month barnacle growth. And here's another thing. To get to this point as well, it should have taken 2 years. Like the debris should have been floating for 2 years to get to a point, right? This debris was found in 1 year. Okay, and it had 4-month barnacle growth on it.
That's odd.
That is really odd, you know. Yeah. So if it's been in the water even for a year, it should have 1 year's worth of barnacle growth on it, but it had 4 months. So this is where we start getting into this. And now that they found numerous pieces, I'm going to numerous small pieces. That was the biggest one. So they found some in the Maldives, in South Africa. And so if you're looking here, all these debris field is in this area, okay? So in South Africa, this is where you're going to find, and where are the Maldives here again? I looked that up earlier. The Maldives are over here, okay? So we have Maldives, and we have...
So it's going everywhere.
Everywhere here, but not here.
Which is strange.
Yes, and a little ironic was... at the time that this plane went down, there was 2 military operations going on. One of them was a search and rescue operation at the time. And I'm like, yeah, it's coincidental. But what that meant is they had all the resources they needed to track or to find this plane. This was, and I believe still has been, the largest search and rescue mission to date. Okay, there's never been anything bigger, or before that
was on the news forever. Was that?
Yeah, it was, and so they could not find it. Now, if this plane had hit the water, right? I'm sure everybody would know this. You know, what kind of noise would it make?
Oh, a huge explosion.
Right. Now, let's go to something else here. Okay. Do you remember the Billionaire's submarine?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, what a sad thing.
It was, but there was the news on it, the news story on it. Do you recall the news story, what they always put up on the on the screen? You know, they had the oxygen level, okay? How much time they had left.
Right.
Okay. But Do you recall, and I'm not sure if you remember this, but do you recall the military releasing something after the
That they
fact?
heard something underwater.
Okay, exactly. So they
Yeah.
have this very fine-tuned listening system. Okay, so good that, okay, you can imagine how big the oceans are. They cover what, like 60-70% of our total um our total area of the earth, right? So
Right.
if you're looking for a tiny man-made sub that maybe holds 8 people in the ocean, like, it's going to be a needle in a haystack trying to
Yeah.
find it. Okay, this system was so good, they're able to triangulate exactly where they were, and they found them.
Mhm.
Just like boom, they found the
Yeah.
destroyed sub with the Logitech joystick controller, or stuff like that. They
Yeah.
found everything.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
and super
imploded.
fast because they knew they were able to triangulate that all. There
And
was
they
this.
knew before they told anybody what those people were gone. They knew it had imploded. They know what an
Yep,
implosion sounds like underwater. So they were just, well, we'll let the people know, just give them some hope for a while.
exactly. Okay, so that gives them hope for a while. That's exactly it. Okay, and which was really, I don't know. What do you feel about that? I feel that's a little bit, I don't want to say morbid, or like cold hearted. Like, we're going to keep your hopes up, but we already know they're dead. Like,
Yeah, you know what? That's really, for me, it serves no purpose at all to have these
mhm,
people thinking that, family, most of all, that they have oxygen, that we're trying to save them. Just be honest, man. We heard an implosion that basically means that there's no way that they could be alive. And, be honest about it. Let the people
exactly.
start to deal with it. Yeah, it's cruel.
Yeah, I agree totally. Okay, so now I need to find out where specifically these witnesses are. What locations? Okay, were the witnesses at? Okay, so there was multiple witnesses now. So I'm gonna so, oh, hang on, before I go too far on that one, I just want to say is that the government, the Navy would know exactly where this plane crashed by using this. Okay, they didn't give out any of that information, so there's a reason why. Either they didn't hear it crash, or they did hear it crash and they know exactly where it is, but they're not telling us. So either way, there is a cover up. What is it? Well, we're that's the thing we're trying to find out. So now, one thing that was not given out as information that should be known, but and see if anybody knows this, but um, where was this? Where was this? Here was this. Okay, yeah. So there is a theory, not a theory, but eyewitnesses said that when they saw the plane, there was smoke coming from the plane. Okay, where there's smoke, there's
Fire.
exactly. Okay. Now, this has a lot of truth to it. Okay. So the fire narrative is that there was lithium batteries in the cargo hold. Now, if I remember, it was like a couple tons or something. It was something ridiculous. Don't quote me on that one. But there was at least 2 pallets worth of lithium ion batteries in the cargo hold.
And
Now,
they don't want you flying with that stuff anymore.
there we go. Yes. That is a big, big concern. Like, trying to put out a lithium battery fire is next to impossible. Like, they have these special bags on the airplanes that they will stick this your phone in. Let's say your phone catches fire, because that was happening with the Samsung Notes, I believe. They're having some fires with them, so that was a issue. So they would have like this bag, they put it in, and they just douse it with water, and no matter how much, like, let's say you think you put it out, it's just going to start up again. Okay, so now this is bad. So not only is a lithium ion battery fire extremely difficult to put out, but it creates toxic fumes. Okay, so toxic that approximately 2 inhales and you're done. That's it. You go unconscious. Okay, so imagine this, and this cargo was in the front. I believe it was in the front hold. So as a pilot and co-pilot, they have the full face mask, which is great, but if you can't get it on, if you don't realize what's happening and you're not instant, boom, putting it on,
you're gonna pass out.
You're gonna pass out, as all the passengers as well. Everybody's gonna go out without really even knowing what is happening, and then the plane's gonna, it's something that plane can crash. Yeah.
There's also, though, Ben, into what you're getting to, Ryan. I know what you're getting. There's been instances in the past where entire planes of people had been unfortunately died from losing cabin pressure, oxygen, and it just kept flying as a ghost plane until the fuel ran out.
Yeah, it's extremely common for those planes to go on autopilot. Like they just put it on autopilot when they are just flying, when you're coming in for a landing, you do it, you take over yourself. But for most part, they're on autopilot. You're there, kind of like these auto driving cars now. You're there just to ensure that everything is going right. To check everything, make sure everything's going right. But it's kind of taking control, and it's kind of doing that now. Yeah, Jojo says, a horrible way to die. I don't know. Okay, like you go unconscious and then you're out and you don't know what happens. Maybe it's not that bad. It's kind of
like dying in your sleep. You're not suffering, and
yeah.
And I understand what you're saying, Jojo, but yeah, if I was going to go down the plane, I'd rather not know it.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Like the fear of going down in a plane, I think
can't imagine.
No, like it's probably like a couple minutes of pure pandemonium and fear. I don't know. So yes, so there was a so first of all, there was someone in the Maldives, and there was several residents of this remote island reported seeing a large low-flying jet on the morning of March 8, 2014, which was about 6:15 a.m. They described it as white and red markings consistent with the Malaysia Airlines airplanes. And they said it was flying unusually low over the island heading southeast. Now, this is important, okay? So I'm gonna pull up that island here so everybody can see where that is, because southeast is very important. Let's put
this. Is this what you want, this map?
Yeah, I'm going to keep going with this map. Okay, so the Maldives, again, we're up here, okay? These are the Maldives. It's flying this way, okay? It's flying this way. So it's coming up from the top area in this corner and flying south, down, and east, okay? How is it doing that? Why is it coming from this direction?
Yeah, where did the turn happen?
Yeah, because this is the last place it was seen, was over here. How did it fly all the way over here and come back this way? Okay. Now this is where they said they seen it. Okay. Now this area it's very important that we know that it's coming southeast. Now it's located far from the place's intended route. Supporting theories said it traveled south into the Indian Ocean, but this is coming, it's coming from the north and going south. Now, the Nicobar Islands. Now, there was a person claiming to see it in the Nicobar Islands. So let's go. I'm going to pull up the Nicobar Islands now. Nicobar Islands. There we are. Okay, and let's zoom out so we can actually see where those are. Okay. So again, now this puts it a little bit closer, so the Maldives are here, but now it's seen over here. Okay. So this time it was seen at, I don't have a time on this one. So fishermen and residents are reportedly hearing large sounds or saw unusual lights in the sky during the early hours of March 8th. Now this is, it kind of like says that possibly this is the plane's potential path as it deviated from its planned one. Now, also, In Malaysia, in the East Coast Peninsula of Malaysia, witness reported seeing bright lights. Again, objects resembling a plane in the sky around MH370 disappearance. And where else we got? Penang Island, Malaysia, reports of low-flying plane come from individuals. Cocos Island, Indian Ocean, reports a possible debris sighting or unexplained aircraft activity near the Cocos Island. Let's show where that one is. Cocos Island, Indian Ocean. Okay.
Wow, I bet it's gorgeous.
You're right. It looks gorgeous. So this kind of lends credence to it crashing over in this area. So this might be something that it did, but we still have it up here. It's still sighting in the Maldives, which is kind of crazy. Now, one of the witnesses claims to see a light and smoke trail coming from this. Okay, which would lend credence to it being on fire. From that, I want to go to the videos that I have ready for us, okay?
Yeah, that's what I'm ready for everybody to see. This is going to blow your minds.
Okay. You got to give me a second here to get them. I'm prepared, but I could always be more prepared. Okay, I'm going to get this ready. And now this first one is not the Predator. This is the satellite footage that they have, okay? Okay, here we go. Now, yes, this is Ashton Forbes is I'm riding his coattails, so to speak. I really want Ashton on my show, so Tika.
I would love to have him here too.
Yeah, exactly.
He blew my mind.
All right, here we go. Media player. Let me know when you are ready.
It's up.
All right, so this is the one that got leaked, okay? And they actually found this on Reddit. This was leaked to a Reddit site. Now you can see someone is moving it. So this is on a much larger screen, and they're watching it as it banks. Now this is where these things start to arrive, okay? Now
everybody pay attention to those dots flying around this plane in a mathematically kind of triangular kind of formation.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to see that they start clockwise and then they switch to counterclockwise as well, okay?
Which could mean that they're activating something.
Yes, exactly. So you can see that they're flying. Now, it does look like there is a bit of a smoke trail coming from this. Could that be the contrails? I don't think so. At all. Okay. So this looks like smoke. They're flying around it. They're moving this screen over so we can see it. Now everybody pay attention, but we're gonna make sure. Whoops. I'm gonna make sure that this and I believe boom.
Gone.
Let's do that again here. And let's go here. Boom. Gone.
Everything's gone. Portal.
What is happening to this? What just happened? What are your thoughts on that one, Matt?
Yeah, what it seems to me, number one, first and foremost, the fact that you have a satellite and a Predator drone both recording this plane, and all of a sudden you have three of these what do you want to call them? Circular drone type of, balls or whatever. And they all of a sudden start that strange rotation, as you said before, and then change backward to go another direction. And then bam, there's a flash. The one that you're going to be bringing up, the thermal shows even better, recording. It tells me that they were put through a portal. These things activated a portal and it brought the plane somewhere else.
And this kind of lends credence to 0 point energy as well, because to do that type of portal, I'm only going to guess it's going to require,
a lot of
power, which then leads credence to the ether. When with Nikola Tesla talked about the ether, and that this is it. This means that there is unlimited power. So not only is this a mystery that this plane disappeared, but it also is kind of like shows us that there is this power that is known about, this unlimited energy source that we are not being allowed to get. We are being told that we're killing the planet and we need to go everything electric, which is even worse for the planet. But when there's a possibility that we're seeing here that there is an energy source large enough to do something like this, because I'm with Ashton on this one, that I actually don't believe that this is alien tech. I believe that this could be our tech, or reverse engineered tech made ours.
That is right. Exactly. That's what I think it is. It's reverse engineer, but regardless, it's from us that this occurred.
And and someone said, and I don't know if I said that here, but someone said you can see the flash on the clouds. Like the clouds represent the flash too. So it's kind of like to try to create a video like this, is it
impossible?
Yes, it impossible. They put out, I think it was like close to $500,000 to the person who wanted to make this, to prove that it was a hoax. They put out this money to be like, here, we want to give you this money. So you can debunk it and say, yeah, it was me, and claim the money.
Nobody did.
Because there's nothing illegal about making this video. Yeah, it probably, really pisses off a lot of people, but there's nothing illegal about it. Right. And if I made something like this and someone's like, yeah, I'll pay you $500,000 to tell the world it was you, I'll be like,
hello.
Yeah. Hello.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. So let's go here. So this one is definitely from Ashton. As this upcoming video is Ashton. He's going to be talking. So I played it twice so that, if someone missed it, we can watch it again. So this is from the drone. And it will be coming. I just put a little pause in here in between so we could sit and talk and have a discussion. Here we go. And let me know if you can hear this.
No.
Can you hear it?
No.
Okay, let me see here. Let me stop sharing, and I'm going to share with see if I can put the what's that called? If I can add the volume onto it. So, there we go. And I'm going to do stop sharing. Okay, let me try doing this once more here and share screen. Window here. To share audio, share a tab or screen instead. Ooh. Okay, I think I got to share my entire screen. Not a big deal. Okay. Share this and share. You guys got to see everything that I got open going on. Ah! Okay. Here we go. Put that guy up there and let's go. Tell me if you can hear it now.
I'm Ashton Forbes. And
yes.
This is of the MH370 drone video. We can see the nose of the drone right here. The screen might be cropped. We've identified this as an MQ-1C Gray Eagle with an aerial surveillance package underneath the wing. We've identified the cameras in Westcam MX-25. We can see the distance between.
Now you can see that. Sorry, when the drone is following this plane because you can see it go through the
contrails.
Well, I think this is smoke. You can go through the 25. Smoke. Yeah.
We can see the distance between the plane and the drone here indicates it's an operation. It's much too close. They're filming before the orbs even show up. We can even see smoke coming out of the back of the plane there as well. We see these very detailed clouds, but they're very faint. The noise pattern makes it look like it's nighttime. The camera shakes naturally. There's even a delay when the operator zooms in.
And the orbs are releasing a black kind of.
Well, the operator's struggling to keep the plane in view.
Because it's thermal, so they are releasing
something.
It's colder though, right? Because
it's black.
Yes, it's black with thermal. The darker the color, like red is hot and blue is cold, but of course, like black is even colder. So that's kind of like almost like a cold fusion per se. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there, but let's keep going here.
It's not auto tracking. This is a real human controlling this. This is not an effect. There's precise movement on these orbs as they spin around the plane. These cold, dark lines in front of the orbs are like they're falling forward. They have no inertia or mass. Where is this energy coming from?
Pause that for a second.
At the last moment.
He makes a great point, everybody. It's not that these things are releasing it from behind. The black lines are pulling these orbs as it goes, which blows your mind even more.
I agree totally, and like, one video is like, maybe, but if you have two videos kind of showing the same thing, it's too coincidental. You can't discredit this. And I put this on twice so we can
keep the plane in view. It's not auto tracking. This is a real human controlling this. This is not an effect. There's precise movement on these orbs as they spin around the plane.
Look at the size of them.
Cold, dark lines in front of the orbs.
Yeah, they're big.
Are falling forward. They have no inertia or mass. Where is this energy coming?
And they look like they're flipping on.
Orbs converge at the last moment, like magnets being jammed from.
They
orbs converge at the last moment. These orbs around the plane. These cold, dark lines in front of the orbs are like they're falling forward. They have no inertia or mass. Where is this energy coming from? The orbs converge at the last moment, like magnets being jammed together, consistent with Coulomb's force. This is the first endothermic event ever caught on camera. It's proof of negative energy and the unification theory of zero-point energy.
That's like, I'm almost giddy as a kid seeing that. That's incredible.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Do you want to watch it once more, or is that good?
Yeah, please put it on again.
I put it back to back so we can watch it again here.
We can see the nose of the drone right here. The screen might be cropped. We've identified this as an MQ-1C Gray Eagle.
And here it goes. It's going to fly through the smoke.
Underneath the wing.
Right there, flying through the smoke.
Westcam MX-25. We can see the distance between the plane and the drone here indicates it's an operation. It's much too close. They're filming before the orbs even show up. We can even see smoke coming out of the back of the plane there as well. We see these very detailed clouds, but they're very faint. The noise pattern makes it look like it's nighttime. The camera shakes naturally. There's even a delay when the operator zooms in.
Yeah, they're like corkscrewing. They're corkscrewing through this. This is crazy. Now they changed. They just changed the rotation, right?
It's not auto tracking. This is a real human controlling this. This is not an effect. There's precise movement on these orbs as they spin around the plane.
And they are large.
Part of the orbs are like they're falling forward. They have no inertia or mass. Where is this energy coming from? The orbs converge at the last moment, like magnets being jammed together, consistent with Coulomb's force. This is the first endothermic event ever caught on camera. It's proof of negative energy and the unification theory of zero-point energy.
Incredible. I mean, just mind-blowing. And if you have question at all the type of technology that our government has, that should make you have your answer right there. There's no way that we had that stuff without reverse engineering.
And Carol brings up a good point, though, too, which is something I was watching, too. And I'm like, if there was a fire, we would have seen it. Perhaps, maybe, because now maybe they did manage to put out the fire. Maybe the fire, because here's something to know. I just need to pull this up again, but there was a fire suppression bottle, an empty fire suppression bottle found in the Maldives. Okay. And Ashton put a FOIA request for this information about it and was denied. Like, why are you being denied that information? It's just a fire suppression bottle. Like, what is the point of that? So that tells you, though, that possibly there was a fire. Maybe it was suppressed. Maybe it was put out. Maybe it was there for something. Now, what I'm going to go back to that plane up by the Maldives, where it was seen flying from southeast to the Maldives. Now, a possibility that might have happened is the plane was transported to this other location. What now? This is all like, so, we've come out with, like, all this information I've kind of provided was real stuff. Okay. So like, there was these people on board. Like, we've seen the Predator drone, we've seen the satellite footage, we've seen like this equipment, like the Flaperon, which was only technically in the water for 4 months. When that happened, like, I forget how, it was so found,
they were placed there on purpose, basically, so it makes it look like it crashed and nothing that we just saw. I want to, and I'm not trying to cut you off, right?
Yeah, no.
I want to say to El Martino, if you weren't here a little earlier, what we were discussing is a lot of the mindset is that these people that were on the plane were actually dead before this event occurred,
That's a
which was
possibility. Yeah.
possibly just, okay, then let's utilize this new technology and use it on this plane since nobody's alive anymore.
And there is some other claims of people on the plane as well. I'd just like to talk about that. So there's the intelligence operatives. Some people allege that certain passengers were covert operatives on a mission. The theory says that the MH370 was deliberately intercepted or downed to prevent their success. A small number of passengers worked in industries related to defense, aviation, or advanced tech, which has been cited as potential evidence for this claim. There's also the Uyghur Muslim connection. 4 passengers were from and I'm going to butcher that, Uyghur Muslim minority group in China. Some have speculated they could have been involved in hijacking to bring attention to their plight, but there's no evidence that emerged that supported that theory.
None. We've never heard it.
There's the patents conspiracy, which ties us back to the microchips. It's a widely a theory suggests that 4 of the free scale semiconductor engineers held a joint patent for a critical piece of tech, and their deaths transferred the patent rights to the 5th holder. I can't remember. I think it was some big name. Was it like Rockefeller or something along that line?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, but they said that there was no such patent existed in this claimed manner, and how they say in this claimed manner doesn't necessarily mean that there wasn't a patent. Yeah, so that is Chinese dissidents and espionage. Some passengers were speculated to be dissidents or individuals targeted by Chinese intelligence. So that could have been a deliberate interception by a state actor, but again, there's no conclusive evidence that supported that claim as well.
Red Edge Savage. Yeah, you know what? I've also, of course, heard of the Foo Fighters. This, I think, is something completely different. The Foo Fighters were just, in my opinion, those were alien ships that were just going and watching the war that was going on, flying around planes. This is something different. This is obviously, again, our government, that's the only way it can make sense that the Predator drone and our satellite all recorded it right before, as he said, before the orbs came in. So they were ready for this to occur.
They were ready. Yeah. My guess is it had to do with the semiconductors. It had to do with that. And they were taking this information to China. And I don't want to say the U.S. per se, but, some deep state that controls aspects of the U.S. stepped in and said, "Oh, you think you're going to take that? Well, watch this. Watch this."
Yeah. Really interesting, mind-blowing, the video, like when I shared it with you, Rye, and other people, I was so blown away. There was, and his explanation of what occurred was so scientific and so, back proven that he had all of the facts before he went on and discussed this stuff. It's just amazing. I'm sure there were people cringing, except for the person who was flying the Predator drone or standing next to the person flying the drone, because that video, he said, came from the actual area and screen of whoever was flying that drone. So it was either the person doing it or it was somebody else. And God, man, if they got caught, you would never hear from that person again.
Worse than Snowden, man. That's like Snowden is what happened with that. And what happened to this plane, it still really remains a mystery. There was pieces of the plane that were released. My speculation is they transported the plane to another area and landed it, and maybe perhaps pulled the bodies out, pulled the people out,
and then crashed it.
Yeah, and then or crashed it or took pieces and
just
made
threw them in the ocean. Yeah,
just threw them in the ocean. Yeah, and I really believe it stems to the micro, like the superconductors and the microchips. That's where I go with it. But it is a enigma. It is a mystery. But I think it opens the door to that. we are far more advanced. We have far more advanced technology than we're being led to believe. You know,
100 years is supposedly
yes,
whatever the public has. That's what the government has, is 100 years ahead of what
yeah,
we see.
yeah, exactly. We are extremely far ahead, and it's it's concerning as well that we have all this, and we're just being led to believe that we can, like, there's limits on how fast aircraft can travel. You know, like we're developing super fast cars, we're developing bullet trains, but our air traffic, why is it so slow? Like, why did
It
they just,
is.
you know, the Concords were really fast, but then they scrubbed them
Yeah.
all. Like, what
Because
happened?
they would be seeing some of this new technology like the TR-3B that
Mm-hmm.
is using anti-gravity, and they don't want that stuff getting out. They don't want
Mm-hmm.
people to know, and we're still in, the beginning of the wheel, basically, with flight, and the rockets that we fire up in the sky. They have such things that just absolutely make that look like pathetic technology.
I agree.
Um,
Lucent has a good question. If you want to pop that on there.
Hold on one sec.
Mm-hmm. There we go. So hands down, I fully agree. I'm curious. Do you think it's government only, or some of these corporations that gotten involved? I really feel that there is some corporations that truly run the government.
Yeah.
Like I think it's government here, corporations here, and then there's the deep
Black
state. And
government.
yes, and I
New
think
World
it's,
Order.
everybody thinks it's ridiculous when you say that, but no, there is other people pulling the strings. You know, there is
Well,
much more pulling the strings. The corporations run the government through what's that I'm calling for? Not like where they kind of pay them off. They lobby. They lobby the
yeah.
government, and they get them to do what they want by, you know, paying them. And there's a lot of blackmail. I know there has to be a lot of blackmail going on. And if you ever watch, like, whenever someone comes into office, they always start out good. They always start
Yeah.
out really good. And all of a sudden they start doing things. You're like, what? What are you doing this for? My belief is that these other people are getting more and more dirt on them, or, like, you know, are
Mhm.
blackmailing them more and more. And it's like you're controlled more and more. And that's a problem. Like, I'm going to talk Canada. One of the reasons why I left Canada was Justin Trudeau. I think he is horrendous, but when he first got in, he made some good decisions. He started off well, and then it plummeted. It plummeted, and but I believe that there's a lot of, like the Epstein. Epstein had blackmail on so many people. You know, yeah.
I remember the now famous interview where President Obama was on, I think, Jimmy Kimmel, and he said, or not Jimmy Kimmel, it was one of the night shows, and they had said to him, "So what about the aliens and this and that?" And he came to the question. Well, he can't. He says, "Well, I'm not allowed to say that." He's like, "Oh, you mean the aliens?" He said, "Yeah, I'm not allowed to talk about it." So he basically, people laughed,
Yeah.
but it's the truth. And then you have, like this new world order out there that is just running everything. And you think the most powerful person on the planet, the American president, can do. But there's stories in the past, like when Jimmy Carter tried to look into aliens, and they told him, "It's none of your business, sir. It's above
Mm-hmm.
your pay grade." And they
Yeah.
told him, "Stop asking about it."
No.
The president was told, "Don't ask about it." That's
And
mind numbing.
I and I know you're not a fan of Trump, but I'm interested to see what he does. I'm interested to see if he really is this not an actor, but, like, if he's going to play the side of just dismembering a lot of these government bullshit bureaucracy that's in there. Who knows? Though I have other beliefs about that as well. Like, I feel that he's coming in looking like a savior, but, and a lot of people are. And this happens. I don't care which president you're talking about, if it's Biden
I'm
or Obama.
non-political. Any you made a comment. I don't discuss politics.
Okay,
So
okay, for
yeah,
sure. Okay,
yeah.
and that is fine. That is fine. I hope he rips some things apart, and he we get some information out. But Yeah, the proof is in the pudding. Once I see it, then I'll see it I'll believe it when I see it. Everybody's like, oh, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. Well, let's see it when
Trump's been it's been said. He said himself he's going to be one of the first presidents to release information about aliens. So if
yeah,
he
but
does it,
he said stuff earlier too, and granted,
and it changed.
He did release some stuff, but then other stuff he didn't, and it's like, well,
somebody puts reins on them.
Or what were you waiting for? Or does he do that? And this goes, and I'm not, this can go with anybody. I'm going to release you a little bit just to get you backing me. And then that's it. Now I have you under control because like we're going to go with Q. Okay. Like, QAnon, biggest psyop I ever believe ever happened that got a lot of people to do nothing. QAnon was like, hey, everybody, they fed you some truths enough that it garnered people to back it and to believe it. Okay. Now, so what QAnon did is they got everybody to follow because they gave out some truth, but the rest was all bull crap. Okay. And they got tons of people to sit on their couches and do nothing. Okay. This is important to know that if I tell you some truth, some big truths, and you're like, oh my God. And I tell you, okay, don't do anything. Just sit there and wait. Trust the plan. Okay. Don't do anything. Sit and wait. Trust the plan. It's all working. Trust the plan. Don't do anything. You're going to be like, okay, I'm going to sit down. Okay. Let's wait.
But that's what
and then you become a spectator. You're not a player anymore. You are not making the changes. You're not doing anything. You're an NPC. You're just watching everything go by. And that is
what happened with COVID in a way. Yeah,
exactly. Everybody just sat back and we waited. And when we don't do anything, when good people do nothing, that's when evil will win. That is the biggest thing.
You remember also when that event occurred that the sun was going to release a large radiation wave. Something had blocked it, and then in California, that one area where they had the telescope that watches the sun, they shut that down when that event happened, but they made up that there was a terrorist there. That one was also one of those.
I don't know about that one. I did not hear about that.
Yeah, you got to look into that. So this was years ago. The sun, they're saying, was going to release a
solar flare.
Yeah, solar flare that was going to cause all kinds of problems. There's a telescope in California that specifically watches the sun, and they stopped and took everybody from there. The government just showed up and said that somebody was there, like a Chinese national, or was releasing information to their country, and they needed to get him because he had national secrets. But right when they did that and got everybody out of that telescope area where it watches the sun is when that event occurred. And they said also something had on the recording had blocked the sun and took care of our planet from the damage that would have been caused. Anybody remember that? I remember it plain as day when it happened. And I didn't buy that from the beginning, that there was somebody there that was, had some national secrets. They got everyone out of there because they didn't want people to see what was about to occur. So another situation of it. Other countries also, along the lines of Russia, also control the information and the things that happen. And one of the things I talked about that we were going to discuss, not in as much detail as we just did, but is Dyatlov's Pass. And that is one of my most favorite things to look into, where you had, I forget how many students there were that had gone
8 or 12. It was a large number.
And they went up into Siberia to just challenge themselves, and they all died in extremely horrible and strange circumstances. And Russia has never really released the full Monty, so to speak, because they had damage to their bodies that they said the only way these types of injuries could have happened is if they were hit by some unnatural force or a vehicle. Now, since then, one of the most recent thoughts is that there was a slab avalanche, which releases slabs of ice and snow because the hill that they were next to, the mountain, was not big enough for an avalanche to occur. But my question is, even if it was a slab avalanche, what occurred was they had cut themselves from the inside of the tent and ran out. You are not going to be able to get out from even a slab avalanche. You're going to hear the sound. Something occurred that caused these people to cut the tent from the inside, run out in their gutchies, their long underwear.
Yeah, because some of them left shoes and whatnot as well.
Yeah, and there was long enough that they made two people have been found by a fire they had made. They had even had burns, black scorch marks on their feet that they were so cold they stuck them in the fire. But the most interesting thing was the damage that the bodies, some of them, their tongues were missing, their eyeballs were missing, their chests were caved in.
Yes. The one, I believe it was one that had his chest caved in. You're correct.
Right.
Yeah. Because one hiker's tongue and eyes were missing. There was some of them had no external wounds that matched the internal trauma. And also some of them had high levels of radiation as well, detected on their clothing. Now, there was now, don't quote me on this one, but there was either a military operation or a military general that was in the area as well. And he reported seeing lights off in the distance into the Ural Mountains. Yeah, I believe it's Ural Mountains. I'm terrible with names, but yeah, and that was February 1st, 1959. Is when this is when they pitched the tents, I believe. That's when they're kind of like the last reported time of them. And there was nine hikers as well.
Now, the newest information that the slab avalanche that came from is from Josh Gates' new show, Destination Unknown. Love and that. He talks about Josh Gates is my dream guy to get on Planet 412 and interview. The guy's amazing. I've been watching him ever since, his first series,
Destination Truth.
Yeah.
I agree. He was yeah. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was saying he's one of my favorites as well. I've watched, it was Destination Truth. I watched it, so many of his episodes. I loved his dry humor as well.
That's one of my favorite things for sure.
He was fantastic.
Stacey, you could ask my wife, Stacey. She'll say, "Oh my God, you're watching these again." I watch the videos over and over. I love listening.
There are certain shows that one and done. But there's some
others
shows
over and over.
One of them for me is like The Office until Michael Scott leaves, and then there's Scrubs and The IT Crowd. Destination Truth. I love it.
He had a comment that he made, and my wife was in the living room in my room. So I have a man cave. There's different areas we watch TV because my daughter and my wife don't watch the same things as I do. But she comes in because there's a gas fireplace in there. She loves to stand in front of it in the cold because it's like we had a blizzard today in Ohio. And the one episode that made both of us laugh out loud was when he went to Chernobyl with his crew, and they had eaten in a diner, which he said is who knows. There's a diner going to Chernobyl, but they had this like bottle that said blueberry flavor that would help take care of taking in and also getting rid of radiation. And he made the comment, who cares what flavor it is? If it could say feces flavor, and if I'm about to die from radiation, I would drink it. And I just laughed so hard I couldn't stop. And she did too. It was one of his greatest comments. So his humor is just absolutely phenomenal.
Exactly. And if anybody wants to know where this incident were located, this is it here. If you want to, there we go. So
in Siberia,
one
of the coldest places on the planet.
Yeah, here we go.
Interesting enough, Rye, also where they had the Tunguska explosion that wiped out all the trees as well. And it was in
Really
Siberia. Yeah. So
interesting.
Tunguska is the
Very
same actual
interesting.
area. Yeah. So it makes you wonder, you know, what is going on up there. But, you know, of course, when you're dealing with a country like Soviet Union, you're not getting anything from them that they don't want you to have.
No, I agree. It's yeah, you're not going to get any of that information. And yeah, this was a extremely interesting incident. You know, like there is the avalanche, the military testing, animal attack, paranormal UFO. Now,
and
yeah,
it
go
was
ahead.
a supposed Sasquatch attack. Some of them, and they have a picture that they've since then said that it lines up where it was just one of them who they took a picture of. But there is a strange picture that shows a being out of focus, like peeking over a tree, which is one of the things you hear frequently with Sasquatch, that they peek. They look around the tree and they, you know, and that's the kind of picture that they have that was taken by one of the students. So, you know, definitely an animal or creature or whatever you want to call them that could have killed all of them and given them the injuries that occurred as well.
I believe it's a combination. I believe it's this kind of animal thing, but I also believe it's UFO abduction. And like when they're talking, like the externals did not look like there was like the one had his ribs all caved in, but there was no like damage to the outside. Like how does that happen?
Yeah.
And if we're
Lucen,
talking
I
about,
heard of what you're saying too. Sorry,
was
Rye.
it okay? Yeah, no problem. And now go back to that one hiker. Talk about the one hiker. What was he missing?
He was missing his eyes and tongue. Some of them. There were different ones.
Yeah. Where else have you heard that?
Sasquatch attacks?
No.
Go ahead.
Cattle mutilations.
Oh, very good, Rye. That makes a lot of sense.
So you're looking at, you know, these types of mutilations that happen with cattle where, you know, there's these types of incidents where there's like no blood. I know some of this, there was some blood in that, but, you know, missing eyes, missing tongue.
Mm-hmm.
The cows are always missing their tongues, and some of them are eyes too. So this lends credence to, and of course, there's also the theory that, you know, whenever you see, not whenever you see a Sasquatch, but not ever when you see a UFO, but they are together sometimes. You know, you do see that either they're working together or they're being one is monitoring the other.
Right. Sasquatch with orbs and this and that. Lucent brings up a great comment, and I've also heard of this similar trek. I don't know where it was, if it was even in the same area, but what occurred was you had a group of people that were doing the same type of trek, as Lucent says, and this young girl was the only person who lived. They were exposed to some type of either weapon or something, and what occurred was they started bleeding from the eyes and died and came out of their nose and ears, and it was like 9 different people, and this one girl ran, and I think one of them, like the teacher that was running this trek, said, "Get out of here," and she was the only one who lived, and it happened to every single person, exactly what Lucen said. So something you can
I have that information.
Okay.
I'm on fire today getting all this stuff
right
here. Okay, so that is the Kamar Daban incident, 1993, Russia again. Okay, so this was the Kamar Daban mountain range in Siberia. A group of 7 hikers led by Ludmila Korovina faced an unknown catastrophe. 6 members died under bizarre circumstances, with only one survivor, Valentina Utuchenko. Witness accounts described hikers foaming at the mouth, bleeding and convulsing. Valentina managed to escape and was later rescued. Theories is poisoning, possibly from contaminated water or plants, hypothermia, or sudden environmental toxins or gases, or something paranormal and strange. You know, like what exactly, you know, could have been some sort of heavy duty radiation, which is quite the possibility. Like when we start talking about UFOs, there is a theory that this anti-gravity type of devices are using magnetism. Okay, they're using magnets like electromagnetics, and to run that sort of maybe not like the newer UFOs, but maybe like man-made type UFOs, you would need a very, very strong power source to run that, which, nuclear.
Nuclear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a possibility that this was something along that line, that it was a nuclear. I
Well,
don't
go
know.
back to the fisherman, or the guy, not fisherman. It happened in Canada, I believe, years ago, where a gentleman was doing like looking for minerals or something, and he saw a UFO by the lake that he was digging at, and it released some kind of stuff out of it, and he got the dots across his chest, and he was brought to a
Mm.
hospital, and I forget who that was. But that was an older situation where a UFO that was older had released some type of exhaust and almost killed this guy.
Very, very interesting. Yeah, it's really interesting. There is a lot of that, and maybe it was Godzilla.
There you go.
Godzilla. Yes, but
Well, Ryan, listen, brother, I tell you what, I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank
yeah.
everybody else for showing up to the live stream. It was a blast having a live stream. I haven't had one in a long time. Is there anything you want to let everybody know what's going on with Codex?
Not necessarily. I just putting out episodes every Thursday on YouTube, and Tuesdays are the audio. That's about it. Every now and then I put out a bonus episode on Sunday. Like today, I did one of my first. I did a narration of about Kalamazoo, Michigan, about some UFO sightings in Kalamazoo, Michigan. It was just a narration of these sightings. But yeah, go check me out. Subscribe if you like this type of content. This is what I do, is I talk to people who've had these types of experiences. Go and subscribe. I'm coming up to my 1 year anniversary for my show, and my goal is to hit 3,000 subs before that happens. So it's like we all have these personal goals for it. And my first actual episode of my interview episode was with you, Matt. So that was fantastic.
That was one of the ones that I had the most fun with. I'm so happy that you and I have become such good friends, and I don't ever see that going away. I'm always going to have Rye on Planet 412. And thanks for all the research you did for today, brother. That was so impressive.
Yeah, man. I was checking out, making notes and everything, and I'm like, I had everything on Word
You were
documents.
awesome.
I appreciate that. And
absolutely,
I don't hold a light to Ashton Forbes, and I will say that all this information was his hard work. Me researching his hard work. But go check him out. They're like that's what we do. Is I can't know everything. I can't research everything. That's why we bring on these experts. Like I'm sure, Matt, you've brought on people who have done a lot of research. And that's what we do, is we bring them on.
Preston
because
Dennett is one of them.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I bring on I can bring a little bit to the table, but there's so many things that I'm trying to cover that I got to bring in someone else. Like I brought Mark Fiorentino. He says he completed Einstein's unified field theory, and that's what I was talking about. That is how I got that information about the electromagnetic anti-gravity. He talks about that, and I released that episode last week. He talks about that. He is one smart guy, and so that's what we do is we interview these people, or we find these stories and we relay them to you, and again, you guys, the listeners, you always have to be the arbiter of your own truth, and like, if you're questioning it, go research it, go look it in for yourself, and that, even if you don't question it, still go research, go do your own work, so you can walk away knowing that you are in control of your future and your destiny, because you know what the truth is. And that's why I don't watch TV anymore. I don't watch any of that crap anymore. Sometimes I watch it just to get a laugh at how funny and comical it is, and the brainwashing that's going on with that. So, El
Martino, I just want to say real quick, and thanks for that, Rye. I agree with you. You think of it yourself, guys. educate yourselves. El Martino brought up what I was talking about, the gentleman who got the marks on his chest. It was the Falcon Lake incident. That is exactly what it was. So thank you, El Martino. The last question I want to ask everybody is who do you guys think is going to win the national championship tomorrow? Obviously, I'm a Notre Dame fan. I'm also an Ohio State Buckeye fan. I get ran by people who are a fan of each. How could you be both? I am. I grew up in Ohio. My ex-football coach, Jim Tressel, was Ohio State's coach. I've always been a huge Notre Dame fan because I went to Ursuline High School, which is a Catholic school, the Irish. So this was obvious to love them. The first national championship, I'm going to be able to sit back and not care who wins. I'll have no stress tomorrow. But, let me know, guys, who do you think is going to win? And again, thank you. Carol thinks Irish, go Buckeyes, whoever. I don't have to worry about it. And again,
that's seldom. That's seldom that ever happens where you're kind of like, usually you're like, oh, like it's stressful because you just want your team to win.
So stressful.
But now you're like, meh, I'm good either way.
I'm happy. My oldest sister, I don't want them to play. I love them both, but I'm more an Ohio State fan because she lives in Columbus.
Okay.
I don't care. I do not care. It will be a nice night tomorrow night. So
one last thing.
Sure.
Everybody who's in the chat, make sure you guys hit that like button, because that does wonders for us. It really helps to push Matt's videos out. Like we do a lot of work, whether it be preparing for these interviews, for these lives, we do a lot of work and a lot of time, and, promoting them is something we do as well, but it really helps if you guys do that for us. So, or even if you want to, you're like, hey, I know someone who's interested in MH370. Share this show to them, and let's get their opinion back.
Immensely. I agree. Thank you, Rye. Yeah, anybody that hasn't hit the like button, please, before you leave tonight, hit that like button, and also subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Go over to Codega's Codex of Curiosities, Rye's channel. I love the hat. I'm going to be getting some merch in the next year, so it's coming. It's long time coming. And everybody, thanks again for being here. Love you all. Rye, thanks again. Hold out, and I'll talk to you in a sec. Goodbye, everybody. I can't wait to see you all again. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as it greatly helps out the channel. I'll see you next time on Planet 412.